few stories and newsletters and conversations in the zeitgeist over the last couple of months about the volume of texting that we are becoming accustomed to. The latest of these is an article that was written in New York Magazine by the author Catherine Jessamorton, who has little kids, and she was talking about the burden of texting for parents. And she talks about now when you have a play date, the other parent expects constant updates via text, photos, videos of what's happening. And she says that she finds that like completely counterintuitive and like a real burden, because she said the point of me having another kid over is so that my kid can play and I can get some other stuff done, and vice versa. If my kid's at someone else's house, I don't want to have to be responding to constant updates about how they're going.
She called it maternal self-soothing, which I thought was a really, really good phrase. It's almost pacifying for the person doing it to feel as though every time they have an anxious thought about their child or they worry, they almost want to perform the fact they're thinking about their child.
Well, it was interesting because I had Luna for the weekend and you were away, Jessie. And when I have her, I do have that track going in my mind. I should capture this on video. I should capture this on video.
And I have a track going in my mind that if I haven't checked in a few hours, do people think I'm not thinking about her?
Yes, and I did think that. And I even said to Luca when I spoke to him, I'm like, what are you guys up to? You're not behaving in the normal way.
Yeah.
You're not texting as often as you do, because usually when I've got her, it's like, how is she? Especially from him, actually. Anyway, it just turned out that you were just having a break.
A great time.
So when you just said I did think that, you did think that Jessie didn't care about her daughter anymore?
No, I thought that they were up to some kind of shenanigans or something. I didn't know what was going on.
I love it.
And then also I'm like, well, why do I keep texting? Do I keep texting to show you how much fun she's having?
Yeah,
is that
right.
about me, or is that about making you feel better? And so it's an interesting thing. But she says also, because when your kids are too young to have a phone, you choose not to give them a phone. All of this parent communication, the WhatsApp groups, the messages through play dates, the organising of the social things falls disproportionately on the mother. So that's the parenting side of it. But then there's also the group text. Caroline O'Donoghue wrote a piece in her newsletter a few weeks ago saying everyone wants to text less, but nobody wants to be left on read. What did you think of that?
It's 100% true. We all are obsessed with being off our phones more, but we all demand instant responses to anything that we put out there. So what I loved particularly about what Caroline O'Donoghue wrote, which I really related to, is that she basically was saying that she was a bad texter, and she sort of threw out a few reasons of why she was a bad texter. And then she wrote this. She said, the thing is, I don't really want to be better at it. I'm bad at texting. I don't want to be good at it. I hate my phone, and so do you. I feel vulgar and sick when I spend too much time on it, and inevitably texting takes time. But equally, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, particularly the feelings of people I genuinely care about. It shouldn't be a problem, and yet it is. Everyone I know is trying to cut down on their screen time. No one wants to be left on red. When we're left on red, it feels very close to being thrown out of the nest. When we fail to text others back, we see it as morally neutral behavior. But when others do it to us, it creates sincere panic. And that is so true. How many times have you sent a text to somebody and they haven't responded, and then they haven't responded, and your mind goes to, she's mad with me. What have I done? Why haven't they responded? What have I done? Was I rude? And you go back and you read the text. Yeah. Was I rude? Did I phrase that wrongly? Yeah. Should I blah, blah, blah? But when you don't reply to a text, you're like, that's fine. I don't need to reply to that.
And then when someone texts you and says, is everything okay? Or are you mad with me? It feels like, oh, God, like it's another burden.
It's interesting because it brings up the question of which texts require a response and which ones don't.
Well, I think it's like the point that O'Donoghue makes is that we have now seen constant connection as a proxy for intimacy. So if it's not a constant boom, 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 then we're not as close as we were. And sometimes with friendships, they go through a really intense period and then you go, we haven't texted. I think this all the time. I think about someone and I go, I should text them. And it's like we can't have that feeling without doing it. Whereas it used to be that it was a phone call or it was a letter, which by
or you'd organise to get together in person.
Yes, but by that nature, it wasn't always accessible and always possible. So she has this point about how just like in the 1950s, when technology meant that vacuuming was easier, like you could finally vacuum rather than sweep, and you had a dishwasher and you had all of these new things to make cleaning easier, and they were going to afford women more time. What happened was that our standards for cleaning just kept rising.
Wow.
And the same has happened with our standards for socializing. And it's interesting how disproportionately this has impacted women, because I don't know men who are having this same the mental load of all of this. We talked about this in our live show, that the mental load of the group chat is something that women are wearing in a way that men aren't. They don't have the same levels of guilt and responsibility to their friends, which I actually think there's something kind of admirable about that.
It also must change the texture of our relationships. I don't know if you remember, there was a skit in a Chris Rock special once where he talked about how marriages before constant texting and marriages after are a different thing, and they should be classified in a different time frame, because you used to leave the house in the morning, spend all day doing whatever you were doing, come back together in the evening, and you hadn't had any contact all day. And, you know, lots of people are still like that, I guess, but most of us are very much like just checking in and could you do and how's things and did you believe this happened? And that heightened number of interactions means there's less to discuss in real time, but also does it kind of make your relationship more intense and
or
enmeshed?
do you burn through relationships faster because you've reached the point of peak everything? Like you've just known each other really, really well. And I think that group chats are a specific type of connection because they can just go all the time, like constantly, and there might be 20 people in them. But I don't necessarily think that people who are bad at texting, I never get the sense that I'm mad at them or I think they don't like me. I think they have a different relationship with their phone. And I'm quite aware that my relationship with my phone is a problem I'd like to fix.
I find group chats in a way easier. And I know that, you know, some people are in group chats, some people aren't. But what I've made peace with now is sometimes a group chat can be going on and you're not in it and you're not involved and it's okay. It's almost like social media. Like when you pick up your phone to look at social media, you don't go back to the beginning of, you just jump in the stream wherever you are, ride it for a little while and then pop out.
It's also that, and I think it was O'Donnell who made this point. I mean, our work communications are in the same place that our social communications are, and every notification from a friend's message to an urgent work email is presented the same on a phone. So you get this spike of like must open now, and what I've tried to do is go, do not open the message until you can answer it. So if that means that at 9 p.m. you go, all right, I'm going to, because then I enjoy it. Like I sit down and I go, all right, here's my time to go through this. And she speaks too about the experience, and this is something new, where you're waiting on a message from someone and then they post on social media and you're like, I know you have that phone in your hand and I just want to know if we're hanging out on Wednesday.
We're being spied on in a way in that context. So on that and this idea that we all feel a little abandoned if we're left on red, what do you think are the messages you do have to respond to, and how long is it okay to leave between? Because this original story, she was saying, a lot of people start their texts, and I certainly do this sometimes, with, sorry, I just saw this. You know, like we will, and she says that she has a friend who she considers to have a very relaxed, cool relationship with texting, who never apologizes. It's just like, this is, I got to it when I got to it. How do you feel if people don't reply to your messages? And when do you think, and how long do you think it's okay to
I
leave it?
assume that they've done the thing where they've opened it, they've gone, I'll get back to that. They've then had 780 other thoughts within 2 hours and they've totally forgotten, and that's fine. And if it's urgent, I'll follow up. But I'm never, ever getting my feelings hurt that I haven't got a response.
What about you, Mia?
I've got so many going at once that I don't notice, to be honest.
Sometimes I feel, I've been meaning to bring this up with you, Mia. Sometimes you throw a link in our chat and I go, I'll read that. And then I don't get back to you and I feel like you're sitting there going, they didn't read my link.
It's true, because Mia throws great links. Like the quality is high.
Yeah, I'm a linker.
But it means I'd probably, at the time she sent it, I don't have 10 minutes to sit and read that. So I'll be like, I'll get to that later, by which time Mia will have forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I fear that I've hurt your feelings.
So to be clear, because you're right, my love language is sending links of things that I think people will find interesting. I don't expect a response even necessarily ever. It's more, here's a little thing. I have to send it now because I'm reading it now and I won't ever find it again. But here's a little thing I thought you might enjoy. Not, let's discuss this together, please unless it's like, oh my God,
Yeah,
look
just
at this
happened.
immediately. Usually it's just, I think you'll be interested in this, but there's no burden of response. A question, you know, when messaging WhatsApp and everyone introduced like the reactions, at first I thought that was going to make things better because you could just do a little thumbs up to what someone said. But now it's almost like nothing ever ends because you do a thumbs up and then someone does a thumbs up to you, thumbs up, and then
I know. And also, if somebody, you know, sometimes I've got a friend who I'll go, so I'll meet you at 7 and she'll love heart it. And I'm like, was that a yes or a no?
Yeah.
Are we on at 7? I don't know.
Be clear. I just love how it was, we went through a do not call me stage, text me. And now we've gone to a do not text me, I don't want to reply. I also don't want to be emailed. I definitely don't want you at my door. I think that what we're saying is like,
go away.
and this is what O'Donoghue said, is that I post on social to prove to myself that I exist, ?
And yet
I
we're
don't
all
know
so
why.
lonely.
And yet when there is a different thing, often I'll see a text come through and I go, I don't have the social energy to construct a reply yet. And then I have to wait for that to kind of come back. It takes a different part of you to kind of give it justice.
I think it's not don't call me, don't text me, don't anything me. It's I only want to communicate on my terms when I want to communicate. Anything else is an inconvenience. And it's to do with what we've discussed lots of times about how everything's on demand now. So we're like, I might have 10 minutes to have a proper catch up with you, but you might not. And so it's that's now with voice notes. And then it's like, who's got time for that one? And maybe sometimes we should just bring back the phone call.